Hey everyone, this is Steve Weintraub with Collider, and I'm here at the Toronto International Film Festival at the Cinema Centre, which is being sponsored by Range Rover Sport. I really want to give a huge thank you to Range Rover Sport for allowing us to cover movies here at TIFF and allowing us to talk to the fine folks behind Pimpinero. Did I say that wrong?
No, that was perfect.
Now, are we saying it just like that, or are we also including blood and oil?
Include blood and oil, please.
Maybe not every single time you say Pimpinero, but we should definitely include it, at some point.
We did it at the beginning. Yeah, I like screwing up titles and names. I'm fantastic at it.
Pimpinero is actually a gasoline smuggler, and he comes, not even in Colombia people know this word. It's a strange term, and it comes from pimpinas. A pimpina means a gallon of gas, a pimpina. So that a pimpinero is someone who deals with gallons of gas, basically.
I have so many questions for you guys. First, I want to start with congratulations, sincerely. One of the things, though, no one will have seen the movie yet, and I hate asking the generic thing, but how have you been describing it to like friends and family?
Well, I describe it as a love story with a lot of adrenaline, action, and it's also a thriller. But at the heart, it's a journey. I think it's a journey of loss of innocence in reality. It's one of... I think everyone in the world, there comes a moment where you discover that life is harder than you think. It's harsher, and there's tragedy and suffering in the world. So it's about discovery and the decisions you make when you discover that, and how you deal with that decision. And if you're now going to give and become someone that is compassionate about it, but it's basically losing that innocence. It's that journey.
I like throwing curveballs at the beginning, and my one curveball is looking right at you, which is you have recorded so much music, but there's going to be people out there that have never heard anything. So if someone's never heard your music before, like what's the song or two that you really want them starting with?
Well, it's difficult for me to choose one or two songs of my catalog, but I guess at least La Camisa Negra or Adiós Le Pido are some of the most famous songs that I wrote before. But I really make music from my heart, and I try to mix many different elements. Like if you go to my show, it's a rock show, But I also bring percussion and elements from Colombian music and Latin music. So it's like a mix of many different styles, I guess,
Jumping in for all four of you, I'm so curious, what was it like actually reading the script for this for the first time? I would love to get your reaction, and what was it about your character that said, I want to be a part of this?
Laura, you want to go first?
Okay. Well, I fell in love with Diana since the first day. I don't know. For me, I really had a connection with her, and my reaction was like, I just want to work with Andy. It was a surprise. It's a long story. And nothing else. Like, I was so involved in the character, and I was so involved in the story. Yeah.
Well, I remember that I get home one day from rehearsals with my band. My wife told me, Andy's looking for you. And I said, Andy Baiz is looking for me. Oh my God. So this is interesting. So I spoke with Andy by Zoom, and he told me, hey, I'm doing this movie, and I want you to play Moisés. And I said, well, I really love to work with you. I love your work. Let me see if I can do it. So I did a cast. I sent it to Andy.
He did auditions for the film as well, and he actually auditioned for two different characters.
Yeah, exactly.
Who did you almost play?
What is that?
He auditioned for Moisés, who ended up
Moisés y
playing,
Carmelo.
and Don Carmelo.
Carmelo, I did it, guys.
That would have been a change.
You guys but need to check that.
I
want to watch the audition.
I'm trying to imagine you in that role, and wow.
So listen to this, man. So I went to YouTube. So how can I make a casting? I was just like on YouTube with microphone here, the camera here, the telephone, I was by myself. My wife was helping me. I was so nervous, but at the end I was like very excited about this. I really love Andy's work, and it's have been a blessed for me just to be here in this project, and surrounded by these guys, so talented guys. So and this beautiful queen. So I can, I'm just happy.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, I'm really glad you did Moisés and not Carmelo, because that would have been awkward. And I got the script. We were shooting Griselda at the time, and we were pretty much at the middle of the shooting. And Andy said, I want you to read this. And I want you to read it and then forget about it because we have to finish Griselda. But I want you to read it and look for the character Ulises. So I read it, and it was so different than what we were doing at the moment that it blew my mind. It was beautiful. It was amazing. And it also helped me in so many other ways that Andy is not even aware of when he did that, because he asked me to play another Colombian guy. It gave me the self-insurance at the moment that what I was doing in Griselda was good. So what I'm doing right now is good. So because this guy is giving me his next baby. And I love the character. I love Ulises. And we got to spend about a year talking about it. And
It's a very
there's
complex
a reason,
character.
There's a reason this guy is my favorite director as well as my friend, because I love the fact that you can just talk about any corner of the human being, psychology and the philosophy and everything, and you can break it all down and you can talk to him and he'll still manage to give you a different insight of what you think and that makes complexity in characters. And then you take that and you tell us you're going to shoot for 4 months in the Guajira, and it's going to be this really, really tough time, but it's going to be beautiful, and we're going to be shooting a movie. There's nothing else to do but shoot a movie. And yeah, it was beautiful for me.
Well, I have to say that I remember since I was doing the audition, I really connect with the character. I don't know how to explain that, but I felt it since that moment. Then I talked with Andy, and it was like, I don't know what I have to do, but I'm gonna be there. And yeah, I really liked the script. When I was reading it, I remember that I thought in that, as Sandy said, it's a story about making decisions, which is so important in real life for me, so difficult. Every time we are doing that, but it's a difficult thing. And yeah, I'm so happy because this was a beautiful experience.
He also auditioned for Carmelo.
I actually want to talk about Don. I'm going to, again, names and I are not best friends, but one of the things that I found very compelling and interesting was that the Don, who's portrayed in the film, is not a bad person. He is, when we meet him, he is trying to provide real money. Like normally in a lot of films, that character is, caricature and is over the top and is, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. That was completely on purpose. He even says it in a couple of moments. I just wanted all of us to get along. And he eats his popsicles and and he has this charisma. There's actually another character, Miguel, who becomes more of the kind of the antagonist. But yes, it's, I directed Narcos, I directed Griselda. I'm an expert in humanizing criminals. That's what I do.
That's actually very true.
And also you have to put some context into it. Who's a bad guy or who's a good guy in a land of bad guys? I mean, for me in the movie, she's the only good guy, good girl. That's it.
What about me?
You're a piece of shit.
Listen,
she's the only really, good person that has some motivations, regardless money or whatever.
One of the things I like about the story is precisely that. Andy doesn't portray bad or good people. He portrays human beings, and that's what I love, because everyone is struggling. And everyone is trying to do their best, and they have their point of view about life and what they have to do. And I mean, Andy is very good on that. Like, you don't have to be a bad guy. You have your, your root, your motivation, and that's also good.
And
You empathize.
Yeah, empathy. And especially in this kind of badlands in the north of Colombia, in this no man's land, morality and the ethics and what's illegal and what's legal, it's you cannot cross a straight line and really delineate what it's where the bad and the good is. And I think all my work, I try to deal and speak about human nature. I think that's center in all my work, and in Pimpinero is no exception.
Yeah, when you put people in the line of what they're gonna eat, what their kids are gonna eat, where they're gonna get water from, or whatever, who gets to tell the morality of it? The outsiders? Do we get to say what you can't do to survive, to make you sure your kids, have food? It's kind of hard to put that.
It talks about also Latin America. It's so complicated to explain that, but everyone is they have their own story, and the important thing, as Laura said, is not to judge, the character. And Andy was with us talking about that.
It's a film with a lot of action. Yeah. It's a very emotional. It's a journey. It's a trip. I say a lot that it's really about frontiers and borders and lines, but it's not only about geographical borders, because this takes place in the between Venezuela and Colombia, which is a very active, volatile border and frontier. But it's also about ethical, moral, family, emotional borders and frontiers. That's really the theme, the center of Pimpinero.
And also, as someone who's watched a lot of movies, it has some twists and turns you will not see coming.
That's right.
I'll say it like that. So I ask this of everyone because it usually leads to some fun answers. So you see the shooting schedule in front of you. What day do you have circled because you can't wait to film something? And what day do you have circled in terms of how the F are we going to film this?
Wow.
I don't know if you...
How the F are we going to film this? It's all the schedule, basically. we were shooting in La Guajira, which is a beautiful part of Colombia, north, all desert. There's a community there called Los Guayú that were very helpful in welcoming us, a film crew of 300 people, to shoot in their lands. We, of course, they were involved in the production and everything, but because this is a land with very little infrastructure, a lot of course, the sun is, the dust. We have a lot of picture vehicles in the movie, as you saw, and bringing all these picture vehicles to the desert. Doing that shooting schedule was a very big challenge, a huge challenge. And we had nights and days and a lot of exteriors. But for me, it's the dramatic scenes more than the action scenes, and that are more important, and the ones that I have to put more of myself into them. And those are the harder scenes when they're complex in terms of acting.
Well, for me, maybe you know which scene is the scene. Is that
a spoiler?
Scene,
We should definitely not talk about that one.
Yeah. No,
obviously. I may or may not know about...
Just skip it.
I may or may not know certain things.
For me, it was a cockfight bar scene. I really wanted to. The place looked incredible, like something I had never seen before, and the fact that we had a lot of extras that were from the place, and those guys were used to, go every single weekend to the rooster fights. It just gave it some energy that I had never felt before in my life.
This is not a spoiler. Ulises' character is a gambler. He's a pimpinero. He's a smuggler, but at the same time,
he likes rooster
gambles.
fights.
Mm-hmm.
He gambles with that.
Fights.
And to shoot those, I mean, it's in the trailer. You can see it there. It was astonishing for me. I lost my voice there that day. It was really cool, and I can't talk about the other one. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And for me, maybe it was one scene that when I saw the script, there were no words at all. Just like I don't have to say anything. I don't have to learn anything. Just
feel relieved.
And then when I went to the scene, I realized, and Andy told me, you have to act with your eyes and your face. And I say, oh, okay. So I understand this. And it was probably one of the most difficult moments for me. You know which one, right? I'm not gonna say anything, but yeah, that one. Yeah, because I need to be very, concentrate in what I was feeling, the character was feeling at the time. And then the other part maybe was the choreography. I was like acting with like 5 or 6 more actors, and for me that was for the very first time something that I needed to learn how to remember every line of each one and just be at point. But Andy was very cool with me.
This is the first time that Juanes is acting in a film, and,
Yeah.
and he did wonderful. Yes. He was always very prepared, very passionate, and very generous. And I think, the cast also was very generous with Juanes. And it was a wonderful experience working with him. So I think every single film of yours, it was the most difficult. Because it was the first time,
everything.
Right?
Yeah, it was all new for me.
But it was a lot of
but
fun.
It called my attention, when I saw this scene with no dialogue. So, this is easy, it's fine. I don't know.
He has a lot of dialogue. He has a lot of
Good luck.
dialogue.
Good
That
luck.
was the most hardest.
Yeah,
The most difficult one was that one.
Yeah.
That was really hard for me.
That's beautiful.
Oh,
Because
I
I
know.
went inside of
I know
me
which one
just
he's
to
talking
project with
about.
my eyes.
I'm pretty sure I know
Yeah.
which one too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to do a lot with your face. You know, I'm sure
Yeah.
you gained a lot of respect for actors, I think, after that day.
Dude, if
I
you have
really
a face
respect
like that,
acting,
you
yeah.
have, you don't have to do much more than that.
No, but at home, my wife is really the actress. She's an actress, and I having learning how to respect this, this job, and this is amazing. I love these guys, and right now more than ever, I really, really respect them because they are going to this world of Pimpinero to another world next week, and then they came from another one, and it's like, how you guys do this? I mean, I can't change like that. It's amazing.
You know what's
I really
beautiful?
respect.
You've seen the film. He hasn't.
He hasn't. Wait, so are you seeing you're going to the premiere then?
To the
Yes,
world premiere
yes,
tonight.
yeah.
Yes.
That's cool.
First
Nothing,
time
I
watching
don't-
the movie.
That
I'm so excited.
I'm sure.
I'm gonna
Okay.
cry.
I can wait,
Guys,
You're gonna cry.
you must have to know that. Yes.
I can't imagine. Well, first of all, it's going to be the best experience because
Obviously,
you're going to be
yes.
with a big crowd of people,
Yes.
and
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 with
in a
them.
great theater.
Yeah.
We didn't get your answer.
I mean, for me, every single day was difficult. I was with a lot of pressure on myself, but I also enjoyed it so much. And I also, this is gonna sounds funny, but the ones I needed to drive because I'm not a good driver, and so we have a couple of things. That was the most
She had to
difficult.
drive cars and motorcycles, and she became really good at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I do
She was
motocross
really good
because of
until
that.
she crashed.
Oh my God, we supposed not to say.
And I think, Laura's character goes through so many different, she put herself in both physically and emotionally and psychologically. Her character goes through everything. It's really a journey, and I just feel so proud and so grateful for what you did. And
Thank you.
And really, because you gave everything. You put yourself in very vulnerable situations, and thank you.
Yeah, I think at some point I was obsessed and a little intense with the things, and in a good way. Like I wanted to do it so well and portray that that light, that innocence, and that how it changed through the story. So it was an
It's
experience.
kind of an awkward, different, out of the box coming of age story in ways.
that's true.
And I love that about the film because it's not obvious, at first glance, but it is.
I definitely want to touch on your character a little bit in your performance because you really do a lot in this movie, and I'm just curious what was it like for you, like the day before the first night before you're going to start filming, because you have such a journey that you go on with your character in all 3 acts of the film. So I'm just curious, what's your headspace, before that first day?
Oof. Well, I remember the first week I didn't shoot anything. So they start They were the ones who stars the movie.
But she came to set. She wanted to,
Yeah, I
come
went
and
to
see
set.
and
My first scene was with Juan Esteban. So I was really nervous. I don't know. I just I wanted to do my job, and I also was very excited to work with Andy because I wanted to work with him. The first time I saw him, long story short, I saw him in cinema when I was 17 years old, and he was with his wife, and I remember, he's Andy Baiz. I want to work with him one day, and 10 years later, I was working with him. So
she deserves it because she's just such a talented actress, and she's gonna go places. She's amazing.
Thank you. And so for me, it was like, how can I portray this human being who is so innocent, and she goes through a lot, and also she's in love with Juan.
Spoilers, please.
That's not a spoiler.
No. And you know, when you have this first love, you know, and everybody knows this first feeling and the beautiful and the beauty of it, and it for me was the essence. That was the most important thing. And after all the story, I don't know. Well, you know, happen, but how you can feel that innocence and how you lose that innocence, and that's so difficult because that's what happens in life.
Completely. I have to ask your director a question because I'm fascinated by the editing process. Ultimately, it's where it all comes together. So you cut the film and you do your first friends and family screening. What did you learn at that screening that impacted the finished film?
Yeah, well, the first cut of the film, you get sick, you get depressed. My wife has to stand my neurosis, my depressions. It's the if that doesn't happen to you, then you're not a filmmaker. You don't have a heart. But then I'm very easy to kill my darlings, as you say. You know, so I don't have any problem eliminating scenes. I actually go too far. I actually go the other way. I cut too much, and then it's a mess again. So you have to find a balance, and at the end, everything that mostly everything that we shot, it's there in the film, in a compressed version or not, but it's there. I will say 90% of what we shot is or more is in the film. But we did find a lot of surprises in the editing. We rewrote the script a little bit and I consulted this with the co-writer, Maria Camila Arias, who was a creative partner throughout the shooting, you know, the pre-production, shooting, everything. And we found a very beautiful structure that it's surprising and elevates the characters and the film in so many levels. And so this is to say that as a film you never stop writing a film until the very end.
Oh, it's taken away from you.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's right.
Every director has told me this.
You know, and talking about this editing, but also what we were talking before, you know, David Bowie said the best moment to create is when you go into the ocean and your feet are barely touching the sand. When you're there kind of touching, you know, that's the best moment to create. You have to feel you're kind of walking in a tightrope, you know, being not taking too many risks, but not being too safe at the same moment. And I think that's a fundamental part of the creative process.
I have to touch on the fact that we're at Toronto, my favorite festival, TIFF. For each of you, when you were making it, did you have any inkling that what you were making would be world premiering at the Toronto Film Festival? And what does it mean to you to be here in such a place that celebrates movies from around the world?
Well, I have to say that I have 25 years working. I'm 29. It's weird, I know. And it's a dream come true. I dreamed it, you know. And I'm so happy because we deserve that, you know. We worked a lot. We were doing our 100% in the middle of the desert. And I remember the crew being superheroes. And yeah, that's the reason why I just feel grateful with this beautiful opportunity, sharing with my.
We can't be more excited. I'm so
Yes.
happy.
Me also.
This is the reason.
I'm nervous. I'm so nervous.
TIFF is the reason. We're celebrating film in theaters, and it's all all of its forms, all of its genres, and it doesn't matter. Is that experience is so beautiful? We know that there's been there's less and less people that goes to the cinema to watch movies, unfortunately. And being here in Toronto, my first time in this festival, my first time in Canada, my first time in Toronto, I cannot be more happy. It's the world premiere tonight, and I'm super excited, and I'm so grateful. I'm just
But
grateful
to answer a little bit of
to be here.
your question, I don't think when you're shooting a movie, you're not thinking about
That's right.
that kind of outcome. You might be thinking about an outcome, but it has to do with how is this movie going to look together? How are we going to put it together? Not where is it going to premiere? Is it going to go this way or that way? Because you're looking at something that you can't even control. It's going to depend on what movie you have. What it is beautiful is that after you've done that, you focused on the movie, you did the movie, and a year later you saw the movie and you're somewhere else in your life. Your feelings are somewhere else. Your physicality is somewhere else, really far from that movie. And then you get to revisit what you felt because they tell you you're going to go to Toronto. And it's not only, there's a lot of pride in it, but it's the first time that we're getting together again, 2 years after we've done with the movie. So there's these kind of things that make you revisit your feelings towards your friends and your peers and what we did together. That is beautiful. It's a celebration.
Well, I never thought that I was gonna be here, to be honest. Well, I feel like this moment was not part of my plan. I was not planning to come, never to this festival. So I just feel in shock in a very positive way. I'm so happy and thankful with Andy and the cast and just to be part of this project because it's different from music, but at the same time it's art. So it's another way to express my way to feel the art. And it's just an amazing thing. I remember when Andy told me, I don't want anything about your music or Juanes, I just want you as an actor. And for me, it was something that just caught my attention immediately. And I love movies, So for me, this is, it's like a dream in a different way. So I'm so happy to be here. It's just amazing,
I think, I've never imagined also to be here. And it's the result of a beautiful movie, but the most important thing for me is what is behind. So we have like a really beautiful friendship, and that's the result. We have a beautiful movie as well. But yeah, I'm so glad to be here.
You guys are going to have a very good night. I definitely have to ask you before I run out of time. What are you currently developing and working on? What is the next thing I will see?
I guess most filmmakers say either they cannot talk about it or no. I moved with my family, with Manu, my wife, and my 2 kids to Providencia, which is an island in the Caribbean, a very tiny island. I'm going there to develop my next film.
It's
my
a
next
beautiful
project.
island.
And so we're now nomads. My family and myself, we're nomads. So we're gonna be there, and that's where I'm going to do my next project, and write my next project. And you'll be the first to know. Just give me your number, and I'll call you. Okay.
I will accept that actually.
Okay.
My last thing, because I have to wrap with. I really enjoyed the cinematography, and so talk a little bit about how you worked with Mateo on the look and feel of the movie and the colors that you wanted to portray.
Yeah, that's always a very interesting and inspiring process. I always begin by looking a lot of photography books, more than movies, more than films. I then go to films, but the inspiration comes first, from the geography itself, of course, from the space, but I look a lot of photography books, and I always choose a photograph that represents the film in its heart, not visually perhaps, but its heart, and I start with that. And then going to the locations, we shot the film in 1/66 aspect ratio, which many beautiful movies have been done in that ratio before. Barry Lyndon and In the Mood for Love and Vieux Traval, Claire Denis movie, and again, it was. I told Mateo what I told you. Like, I want to go home every day feeling I was in a tightrope. That we didn't, that we took risks shooting it, but not too much so that I didn't have material to work with in the editing. But I was also telling a story yesterday in a conference that I did, that I always ask my actors and the DP, where's the gorilla? How can we make this film? The gorilla for me, it's the bizarreness, So everything, we set up a scene. The actors are great. The blocking is great. The photo looks nice. But how can we elevate it? What is it that it's missing? It can be a camera movement. It can be something the actors do, or something with sound, or a lighting technique. So I'm constantly asking that, especially with my DP, to say, okay, where's the gorilla? What's the bizarreness? How can we elevate every single scene? And I leave a lot of, even though we plan a lot, of course, we plan, when we get to set, I think that's where the magic really happens. And you have to just let surprises affect you and elevate the film in any way. And of course, actors, I rely on actors a lot to find that magic.
On that note, I'm going to say that you guys are going to have a fantastic night. And please let people know when they can see it. It comes out in the States, I believe, in December on Prime Video. Am I saying that right? Later this year. I'll say later this year on Prime Video.
On Prime Video, it comes later this year. It premieres globally in Toronto Film Festival tonight.
Right.
And it will be screened again tomorrow. And in Colombia, we're gonna have a release in theaters October 10th.
I really wish you guys nothing but the best. And thank you so much for coming into our studio. And you are going to have a fantastic night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.